Okay. If you're here, it's because you're wanting Paden to pull out his globe thing and say, what are the home values going to do in 2024? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of that. I'm going to give you my guesses. And my guess is home values are probably going to go up a little bit, but I don't think demand is going to go up as much as all the real estate agents are telling you in 2024. But I want to focus today on the actual stats and facts that I'm seeing and try to stray away from speculation or telling people that crazy stuff's going to happen in general. So we're going to jump right on into the numbers in a yearly fashion for what's happened in the Utah real estate market for the last 10 years. But first, I just want to say, if you're looking to buy or sell a house, I appreciate you bringing up my name, or I appreciate you talking to me. Eventually, I'm a random YouTube guy, so I get not talking to me. But the whole reason I do this, well, that's not true. I do YouTube because I love doing YouTube, and I've always wanted to be a YouTube guy. It's why I do all my shorts and stuff like that. But secondary, I need to get some leads to pay for my family. So if you're looking to buy or sell a house, feel free to reach out. I'd love to do a buyer's interview. And also, quickly, if you like getting updates on the Utah real estate market stats, I send out a once monthly email. So, click on this link and put your email in there and come to visit me. It'll also be down in the description. But forget all that. Let's get right on into what we're doing here. Statty stats. This sheet here, I pulled off the Utah MLS, is the amount of homes sold per each month, the amount of listings entered. I've only got about 4 years of information for that. Median sold value, sold to original list value, median bed, bath, sold, and stuff like that, and then the average 30-year interest rate for the month. And so I'm going back to January of 1996. If you want this sheet, let me know, I guess. If you send me your email, I'm going to put you on my monthly email check-in stats thing. Okay. All right, I'm re-recording this video, but it makes it so that you've got a bigger picture of what's on the screen. So let's jump right on into the first thing, median sold value. Basically your home's value. The way I calculated this is each month has a median sold value. So I took the median of all the 12 months in to 2023. And so you can actually see that for the first time in like a decade, home values have decreased by 2.41%. If you bought a home in 2022, it's probably decreased about 2.41%. There's a lot more variables in there. We could be asking more questions, but as a general overview, that's where we're at. Between 2021 and 2022, home values increased by 10.39%, and then between 2020 and 2021, this was our big increase of 28.55%. So over the last 3 years, home values have increased by more than 35%. Crazy huge number. The next thing to look at is that between 2022 and 2012, home values continually increased for a decade. It wasn't until 2011 that we actually saw home prices decrease. This much growth over a decade is concerning, and you have to realize looking at that there was either something decreasing or deflating the prices before this happened or inflating the prices after, that I'm not sure where the correct value is supposed to be at. And my question would be, is that our prices deflated or inflated right now? Everybody would say that they're inflated, but I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that at all. But so we've talked about home prices. It's good to understand 2023 home prices in Utah decreased by 2.41%, which is the first time we've seen in a decade that happened. One stat to guess why this is happening would be the total homes sold. So each year, I just took the total amount of homes sold in that year to get these stats. And in 2023, the amount of homes sold decreased by 13.09% compared to 2022. It's interesting as well to see that between 2021 and 2022, the amount of homes sold decreased by 19%, and the year before that by 6.05%. So the amount of homes being sold over the last 3 years has continually decreased. There's less people buying houses, basically, is what I'm getting at. And that's a mixture of two things. One, in 2021, you have to assume that was because there was less homes that were being listed. And then in 2022 and 2023, you have to assume that's because interest rates increased by like 4% over those 2 years. So you've seen that demand has decreased over the last 3 years, but you've also seen that before that, demand had increased continuously for about 10 years before that. And so, are we at the lowest demand? Is demand going to keep decreasing because of interest rates? I'm not sure. I can tell you right now that interest rates were kind of flat for like a decade as well. And so, demand was increasing while interest rates were staying flat. And so, the question would be, if interest rates decrease, will we start seeing demand increase as well? We've talked about demand. Now let's talk about supply. We've only got 4 years of supply information. I don't know why that is. It's the MLS. But between 2020 and 2021, the amount of homes listed decreased by 6.55%. Between 2021 and 2022, the amount of homes listed increased by 1.59%. So I want you to see and realize we had a huge decrease in demand from 2021 to 2022, and we had a tiny increase in supply from 2021 to 2022. This is probably one of the leading indicators on why home prices decreased in 2023, because there was more homes being listed and less people buying houses. But this gets to where the problem's at. In 2023, we saw a huge decrease of supply of 15.66%. We actually saw a larger decrease in supply than we did in demand that only had a 13.09% decrease. So you're sitting there wondering, oh, hey, Paden, what does this actually mean? It means that supply is decreasing quicker than demand. And if that keeps happening, most likely that's an indicator that prices are going to go up. I know you're sick of hearing it, but it's just the simple truth. So unless there's something that artificially deflates demand or artificially deflates price or naturally deflates price, if this trend keeps going, we're going to see prices increase just because there's more people buying houses and there's less homes being listed. So I'd be really worried if we keep on seeing this trend happening. And I'm really happy to see that this is a yearly stat. This isn't month. This is compared year to year. So it's much more informative for sure. But let's look at average interest rates then. You can see over the last 2 years, interest rates have continually increased by 2.35% last year and 1.44% in 2023. And then you can see before that, interest rates decreased by 0.12%, 0.68%. No, I don't want to change any data. You can see that how much interest rates really didn't do anything for a decade, and then they decreased pretty quickly down to 3%. And they were at that 4%, 4.5%, 3.5% between 2011 and 2020. But seeing them go all the way down to 3% and then 2.9%, that's crazy. And then going all the way back up to 6.76%, 2 years was the quickest increase we've seen in more than a decade, actually. Okay, so we see that. We see that interest rates increasing decreased demand, and then that also decreased supply partially because people don't want to list their homes if they're not able to find a new home or get a better interest rate on it. Lastly, this median list to sold value. It's not like a super useful stat. I just think it's interesting. Basically, for 2023, median list to sold value is at 97%. So if people were making 97% off their list price, you can see back in 2020 and 2021, they were at 100 and 102%. So people were making as much money off as compared to their list price. You can see that it has been all the way back to 2014, where we saw list to sold value going all the way back down to 96%. I think that that's a good indicator on the strength of the market, is that you saw 98, 99, all these years from 2015 to 2020, where it was a really, if you were listing it, you were about getting the price that you wanted. And now we're back to a market where you're making less money than what your list price is. Just interesting to note in general. So to wrap up this piece of it specifically, demand and supply both decreased in 2023. The price also decreased in 2023, which is probably leading from demand and supply decreasing in 2022, or demand decreasing in 2022 and supply increasing in 2022, with the repercussions was that the prices decreased in 2023. If you're wondering what's going to happen going on in the future, well, let's talk about that when I got a full screen. The last things, Zillow assumes the prices are going to increase by 3.5%. Redfin assumes the prices are going to decrease by 1%. I've seen some estimates go all the way up to 6%. And then lastly as well, there still is a housing shortage of 1.5 to 3.8 million homes in the United States. Now we jump to, what do I actually think the real estate market is going to do? Well, if demand does what I think it's going to do and starts going up in 2024 as interest rates start going down, and I don't think that supply is going to stay up or going to increase as quickly as demand will, then that's a huge indicator that prices are going to go up. No, I don't think they're going to go up 15 or 20%, but you can imagine they'd go up 2 or 3% and start making it so that more and more people wanting to buy homes. And as people get more comfortable with prices and more comfortable with the real estate market in general, they're going to keep buying houses. And so I really do believe home prices are going to go up in 2024. Pure opinion, don't listen to it. Take that as you will. These are just the stats. If you're asking if you should buy a home in 2024, if you're going to own it for 2 years, no. There's easier equity to be made in the stock markets or with buying bonds. The only way you buy a house for 2 years would be if you could buy it at a discount or you had a plan for like renting out your mother-in-law or something like that. You need to own a home for 7 years at least for it to start seeing that equity gain quicker than what you could be making in the stock markets or what you could be making with bonds. So if you're going to own it for 2 years, no. If you're going to own it 7 to 12 years, probably yes. If you're going to own it between that time, sit down with me and have big old conversations so we can make a plan of attack and see if it would be a good idea. Or talk to your real estate agent in general. So that's all I got for you today. I think that gives you a great idea of what the Utah real estate market is right now in general. If you have more questions, comment them down below. What do you think is going to happen in the Utah real estate market? Comment that down below. And send me your email address so that I can start sending you my monthly newsletter update. And if you like this video, give it a like. I'd super appreciate it. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.